So in this video I'm going to show you how to make the 3D or a 3D glass painting. Now, as usual with most of my projects, it started on the computer. As you can see, I've made all the images on the same design in different layers. There's actually 5 different layers here. The reason I've done this is I can combine them and I can see how they look when they're joined together. I can move the fish around. I moved this fish over here, so it didn't have its eye right behind one of the pieces of seaweed, etc. So I can plan it all out like this and then print the 5 separate sheets out. Now I've printed the sheets out. I'm going to work mostly on this. Now this is like a thick acetate, slightly bendy, but it should retain its shape. It's still got a covering on this side, which is why you can see the pen marks and it looks a bit dirty, but I can assure you this side is clean. Here's one of the designs I printed out, and as normal I'll put a couple of bits of blue tack. I should place this carefully. There we go, and then it shouldn't move. Right, to make up a piping bag. If you haven't piped before, don't forget, look at one of our videos on piping. I find a piping bag the easiest to use. The outliner I'm going to use is Plaid Gallery Glass, but any outliner which will go with your paints is fine. Line isn't quite as thick as I'd like, I think. Just going to cut that a tad thicker. And there we go, I can put that aside to dry now. And the remaining outliner I will put back into the pot because I have in fact done the other outlining. So I did put far too much in this bag. I have done the outlining previously, so this one is now ready to be painted. The weeds I'm doing with a mixture of greens. I think I've got 3 greens here I'll be using. This fish will be mostly blue, yellow and red. Okay, let's get on and do that. I've got 5 panels in total to paint. Now the back panel is just going to be a solid colour, so I might do something different on that. I've got 4 panels to actually paint once that 4th one's dry. So I say a mixture of colours on these. I'm trying to get the weeds, actually I'll change that right straight away. I'm trying to get the weeds to be slightly lighter towards the front of the design and slightly darker towards the back. I just think that'll give it a little bit more sense of depth. Quite a light amount of paint on this one because this one's going to be right at the front. I have already mixed these colours, and I should say I have ensured my working area is flat before I started working. Now for the fish, I'm going to use slightly less transparent colours, more opaque colours, and I think that will let them stand out more in between the weeds. Now normally I'd let that colour dry before I put the next one on, but I don't actually mind if you get a teeny little blend in these spots where it meets. So I am in fact going to go on and do the blue. It's a bit thick. It's been a while since I've used this colour. There we go. As I say, I do not mind if I get a little bit of blend at these edges here and here. Right, I shall leave that to dry. I shall carry on and paint the others, and then we'll come to the crucial thing of putting it all together. Well, I've got on and I've finished the panels, a bit like this. Don't know whether you can see that or not. If you're wondering, these little air bubbles coming out, and I have done it on each of them. Oh, there we go. You see the little air bubbles. They're just a thick, clear, water-based glass paint, and I used a piping bag to make the little bubbles. Okay, I'm now going to assemble it, and you can see here I've got my 3D frame. I went for a deeper one. You can get them half this depth, but I went for the deeper one because I've got quite a lot to fit in there. I haven't been able to practice this, so we're just going to go for it and hope for the best. I've also bought these bubble feet. They normally go on the bottom of furniture. We used to use them to go on the bottom of coasters. And that's what I'm putting in the box to separate the layers. So I've put 6 in there already at the edge, and I want my first layer, which is going to be this one here, and I should just pop it in there. It's not going to be fixed, so if I need to get it out later, I may be able to do it, certainly to begin with. Shan't later because I will be sticking something in which I will show you. But anyway, so that's the first one in. I'm going to move it down to the bottom because when it's upright that's where it'll go, and then I should put 6 feet on the back of that. Get them in the right order. That's the second one. Repeat that whole process again. My fourth layer. And my back layer, I'll show you in just a second. Now this is my back layer. I could have painted this, but I didn't. I've done it with an adhesive film, a coloured transparent adhesive film. I say I could have coloured it, but I didn't. I should put that in there. It's got a couple of air bubbles in, and I hope they won't show so much once we've got the light coming from the back. Right, now we've got choices. We obviously want the light to come from the back. The simplest way to do that is to leave the back off. Now you'd have to fix those in there, a bit of glue around the edge or sealant, and that would seal the layers in there. Leave the back off and move your hanging hooks up to the edge. That would be the simplest and cheapest way of doing it. I, however, obviously I'm not going to take the easy way there. I bought some lights. Now I'm not sure this is going to work. I really like these. They were quite cheap. They're off eBay, and I believe they've got an adhesive back, which is going to help an awful lot if they have. Yes, they have. Right, that took a little bit more doing than I thought. I'm going to have to cut now back here to go further down. And I'm going to have to cut the bits I've got to go in here and just make sure it'll let that wire out. Now this is just a bit of foil card which go behind the lights. It's okay. That wasn't too difficult. Now the proper card, that might be slightly more difficult. There we go, and I don't think I'm going to be able to cut this, because this is, oh yes I can. Right. Everything's there, and hopefully there is my picture. We're going to have problems with reflections, I can tell already. Maybe I'll put it down. Oops. Completely like that. Let's undo this cable. Okay, not quite as much light as I was hoping for. Might need to try something different there, but I'm quite happy with that. Let's turn off some of the lights in here and see if it looks a little bit better when it's a bit darker. And so I'm afraid we're going to have some trouble with reflections, but hopefully that's enough to give you an idea of what the picture's like. I'm quite happy with that. Right, that's the end of this project. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel or joined one of our Facebook groups, please do. We're having some interesting discussions on different types of glass painting. Happy crafting!